Now, I hope weekly as you listen to the show that, number one, you feel the passion that I have for the topics that we discuss. And I really want to help you change your perspective on the word sales and really growing your business in general so you could clearly see your successful future. Now, by incorporating the little changes that we share on the show between my guests and myself, I really hope that you have a huge impact on building those client relationships, scaling your business, ultimately growing your income. And for me, I hope I'm helping you create the life that you desire. Now, if you're loving the show and loving me, which I hope you are, please go and subscribe to the show either on Apple Podcasts or whatever venue you listen on, as well as YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe, download, and of course, share me. I will feel the love. I actually read all of your wonderful comments, and I really do appreciate the feedback, so stay in touch. So today's motivational quote to get us in the mindset of the conversation that we're going to have and my guests and I are about to have. My quote is by the wonderful Dale Carnegie, and he says, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you." Now, do you feel like your boss hears you, respects you, and truly wants you to grow as a person as well as an employee in the organization? Now, this is kind of an important question to think about. No matter the industry you're in, leaders within all organizations have a responsibility to grow and develop their employees that are reporting to them. So why doesn't this happen as often maybe as it should? Good question, right? So today I have an amazing guest, my new friend, Dawn Mallarney. I hope I said that right, Dawn. Now, Dawn is a trust officer, trust marketing specialist in the wealth management division of State Bank of Cross Plains in Wisconsin. Now, Dawn has always had a passion for helping others with the expectation of nothing in return, whether it's by motivating, inspiring, listening, or even giving good advice. She is a leader that is creative, self-motivated, a strategic thinker that loves to think outside the box, my kind of gal. She is all about connecting with new people for business, new referral partners, mentor opportunities, or just a new friend. Dawn feels that connecting with others help build trust, which is so important when referring your clients to each other. And she speaks my language, guys, as you can see from that introduction. So please help me welcome my wonderful, new, amazing friend, Dawn, to the show. So Dawn, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks so much for having me today.
I know, I'm so excited that we've met recently, and just her story with her mentor is just so impactful, and I think everybody, of course, needs to hear that. I love success stories. So I just want to give some really quick background, Dawn, if that's okay, before we jump in. Now, I recently met Dawn at a networking group, and after speaking with her, I knew a couple of things. That she, number one, she's my kind of person, as we chatted, and I realized that her and her boss, who she reports to, Dan Savage, are both the exact kind of team or people that I want to spotlight on the show as we're rebranding. So Dawn spoke with her boss, Dan, and we all agreed that having the two of them on the show back to back, it's going to be 2 different episodes, it's going to provide you with a really clear idea of how to navigate and build internal partnerships or relationships from a mentor and mentee perspective. So next week, you'll hear from Dan Savage. He's going to be on, and it'll kind of be the part 2 of this episode. So I just wanted to lay some groundwork, Dawn, so they get, when we start talking about Dan, that the cool thing is he's going to be on the show as well. So I love that we're doing like a dynamic duo.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm so glad that he was excited and happy to be part of this, process that I'm doing. Yeah. So first question for you, Dawn. What do you attribute to get to your level of success? And you're really at a fairly young age. So what do you attribute that success to?
I would say, there's a couple different things. Of course, motivation. I'm really motivated, and I have, I think, a different kind of work drive. And of course, I've had great leaders and great mentors, and Dan is one of those. my parents, when I was younger, just instilled this, work ethic in me that I needed to work hard and nothing was really going to be handed to me, that I always needed to, keep learning and keep growing. And I've always tried to, not say yes to everything, but I always think of saying yes to things as an opportunity to keep learning and growing. And I think because of that, I've just gotten more experiences and I've gotten opportunities that has helped me really grow and see different things where I realize, wow, I really do have a really good strength in this. Where, even as a young child, I was really shy. And then I grew up and was on my own and I realized, wow, I do have a voice. And I, learned how to talk with people and relate with people. And, so many things can kind of, go into that as to how I'm successful or what drives me. But
yeah, and you said so many great things there. First of all, raised the same way. The work ethic is there. Look for those opportunities, and the easiest way to look for opportunities is let them find you by just being open to having really. This is the big nugget here, guys. Having conversations. Like, can we make it any easier than that? And it's really through those conversations that you engage and meet people and connect with people. And like you went to Dan, your boss, and the company, and you said, hey, I want to be part of this networking group, national networking group. And they were kind of like, yeah, go for it. So you're not only are you seeking conversations and connecting with people, but you're not afraid to use your voice and say, hey, what do you think of this? I think this might be a really good opportunity for me, but for the bank overall. And bam, you met me. So do we need to say any more? No, I'm teasing. Right. People that know me totally know I'm joking about that. But what an opportunity. Now you and Dan are going to be on the show. And it was from that one question going to Dan and saying, hey, what do you think? Can I? And if you didn't ask, these opportunities wouldn't be finding you. So I live my life of being very open with my body language and just my energy to say, if you want to talk to me or you have an idea, man, check me out, approach me, shoot me an email, whatever it is. I'll listen, I'll hear. You never know what magic we can create together. And I think when you approach life that way, that's when opportunities show up. You're not even looking for them and they find you, right?
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. And I think even with COVID and everything going on, there's so many things going on in the world, but even more is a time where reaching out to people and showing that you care can really open doors to other things. That, I just feel like that's just my personality, is that I care and I'm compassionate about others. And so by doing that, people build trust with you and understand you a little more and want to spend, time with you or Zoom chat with you. And there's just ways that you can keep growing by doing that and caring by other people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of always been my focus. Is I've always loved to care about people, but I never knew I was really a salesperson because I cared about people so much. Yeah. I just have a different style in how I approach people.
Yeah. And it's funny, when we met, my book, it's so funny. I just happen to have a copy on my desk. Usually I don't, but I was talking to someone over the weekend, the ESP, my Easy Sales Process book. And I think I shared with you the first time we met, the first sentence in the first chapter, and the chapter I think is titled Love or something, but it's, if you're not selling from a place of love, you're doing it wrong. And I know I say this a lot, but it is true. For 38 years, I come from this place of love and service, and the opportunities and the love that's reciprocated and the amount of clients and referrals, it's reciprocated at an exponential level. So that's what you're finding, and you're younger than me. So, people are like, hey, you're old, you know a lot of people. Well, I didn't always know a lot of people. It's through that networking of giving that you really grow that exponential, or those exponential relationships. So what does, let's put, because you're sales too, right? And you think sales is love. You come from that exact kind of paradigm of thinking. What does the word sales mean to you? I'm so curious to hear this.
So if you asked me probably years ago, I would say sales is very salesy and sleazy. And that's what I always thought that was growing up. Yep. And the older I've gotten, I realized sales is part of our daily routine. just caring and being compassionate about others and trying to figure out how to help them is sales. Me trying to convince my son to pick up his toys, that's sales. Sales is all in our life, where I never realized that sales can be caring about other people and helping them and being compassionate and figure out what the unique things are about them, and just being helpful. That's sales to me. And I think the older I've gotten to, it's similar to like a leader. I've always thought of as a leader was always managing people. No, you can be a leader and not manage people. Right. You just have to, present yourself and do other things for good people, or do good things for others. And I guess deep down, that's kind of where sales has progressed over my life.
But you're defining it beautifully. Sales is helping. Sales is finding that unique opportunity that person, right, whoever it is, whoever your client is that you're serving, how you can serve them, right? There's that unique relationship that only you can have with that person because you're unique. I'm unique. So that's sales. And I love what you said. I know back office people are like, I don't have to do sales. Sure you do, because you have to be refined and efficient with your skills so that when someone who is talking directly to the customer and they reach out to you, that you could help expedite whatever that process is, or answer their questions with thoroughness and with correctness so that they do the best job for the customer. We all have a sales component in everything we do. And it's funny because I don't know, ironically, I started in sales in my early 20s, and I never thought I was a salesperson. Now, isn't that funny? I thought I just got to help people with their finances, right? Because my background is financial like you. And I got to sit at, when I was selling insurance, sit at someone's kitchen table and help them with their cash flow so they could afford the insurance to protect their assets, whether it's home and of course, their families. And for me, it was like, have conversation, share my knowledge, and then show them what they need, right, to protect, serve, whatever it is that they're looking to achieve in their life. Never knew I was doing sales. So how ridiculous am I that for me, it was like, I get to talk to people all day and help them and, help them with their cash flow and talk about money. What is more fun than that? And so that's how sales evolved for me, but it's always been a place of love. So in your career, was there a point for you where you chose sales, or did you just kind of fall into it?
Yeah, so to give kind of some background is, I've kind of I've been at the bank for 9 years, actually, just this weekend. And
congrats.
I kind of started at a teller job to get my foot in the door. And I kind of quickly progressed. They saw the opportunity in me, and I was kind of efficient, so I was going down to part-time because I was too efficient for my job. And so wealth management had this opening, and it was a new hybrid role, and it was something new to the department that they never had. And so it was administration and marketing. So trust administration, working, more in the behind of the scenes, with a trust or estate, with beneficiaries, with, selling houses, whatnot, and then doing reporting and whatnot for the bank. And, I worked closely with Dan, who is head of the department. And early on, I asked a lot of questions. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Where do we get our business from? And early on, he was like, well, if you want to come to the events, meet our referral partners, try this out. And he just opened the door to me to let me figure it out and kind of see even what the business was all about, but then what I had in me that I was good at. And I built relationships early on with our referral partners. And, some of them were like, why are you meeting with me? You're kind of that back office girl in a way. But really, I was working with our top clients. I was wanting to figure out how to help our clients. I wanted to, just learn all about it. And so the roles progressed. And during COVID, I worked remotely, and most of our staff's in the office. And during that time, I was just realizing like, hey, Dan, I think we should reach out to our referral partners more because, I care about them and I just want to know how they are. And it's not always about sales or getting a referral or this or that. It's like, I just care. So how are these people? And he's like, go ahead, reach out to them. And I was having a lot of Zoom meetings, and then I had my own health hiccup, which wasn't COVID related, but I just had my own health hiccup where I was in the hospital for a couple of days. And, it was that moment where I sat back thinking, what am I doing? And I'm doing all these things because I got promoted so many times and was working with clients, working with admin, working with all these people, doing sales, marketing. And it was too much. And I realized too, wow, like I would work all day in the office. I would even take over roles when people would leave. I would train new employees. I would work at night. I would go to all these events because I knew how important it was to build my network and meet more people. And I always thought of the bank and myself too, just being out there and learning. And I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't just, run myself so much that I was exhausted. So I actually presented a new job description to Dan when I came back from a medical leave. And I saw that, of course, growing the department is really important, but we've never had the full staff member focusing on that. And so I presented it as I love building relationships with people. So what if I focus on business development, marketing, and sales, and focus on building those strong relationships with our referral partners, building relationships with new people, maybe people in our community. It's all about brand awareness and helping people. Yep. And he saw that it was a good idea, of course, and he knew I was really passionate about it. And, life's short. And so I realized I needed to focus on what I'm good at and maybe what my body can handle too, because my body couldn't handle all that stuff anymore.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's kind of, long story short, that's kind of how I got to where I am.
But you said so many important things, Dawn. First, that your energy is high, right? You're a go-getter and you seek those, new experiences from a learning standpoint, and it drove you, which is wonderful. But then we reach a point, and this is a good lesson that you've learned. I have to be honest. You can't say yes to everything because something will falter in your life, right? You can't have and I believe you can have it all with moderation. So you can have that family life. I have a wonderful, family situation, and I have a wonderful business, but it took a long time to figure out what's the balance to be able to be healthy and thriving here so you could be thriving and helpful out there with your family, personally as well as professionally. So you're learning that at a very good age. Unfortunately, you had to have the health hiccup, but sometimes, Oprah says that the universe whispers, then it kind of raises its voice, and then it hits you with the 2x4. You weren't listening, so it hit you with the 2x4 and put you in the hospital, right? What a great lesson, though, to learn. Here's the other cool thing that you said, and I hope everybody's listening to that. And by the way, we all falter with self-care. And that's really what Dawn is talking about, that balance. And I struggle with it too, as do, I don't think just women, I think men do too. I think, and if you're working and you have a family, it's really that struggle of knowing when to say no and when to say yes. And it's a balance, and all of us have to figure that out. The other cool thing that you said is you came to a decision and thought, I can't do this anymore. You went to Dan, and here's the coolest thing with your relationship with Dan and why I think it's so important to spotlight it on the show, because more organizations need to do that. You had a revelation about yourself, and only you is going to take care of you. But you had such a wonderful relationship and I think a level of trust and respect with him, mutual respect when I say that. When you went to him, he was like, hey, this makes sense. So my beginning, I said, does your boss listen to you? Do they hear you? Do they respect you? This is what I'm talking about. And Dan showed up for you and said, I understand your health issues, right? He could have easily have said, sorry, not in the budget, not what we need you for. And that would have been fine from a business perspective. But he is such a Renaissance man that he zooms out and says, well, wait a minute, we don't want to lose her. Let's leverage her experience and her expertise, and we can win on the business side. That's leadership, that listening, that inspiring, that trust, that respect, that you felt confident to say, What have I got to lose? I cannot go back in the hospital. That's not an option. Let me talk to my mentor, my partner, and someone I respect. And he responded the way leaders should respond. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, you might be too young to know what that expression means. You dump out the dirty water from the baby. But some people are like, nope, get rid of the whole thing. And they put the baby out with the bathwater. For what? So he stopped, he listened, he respected, he heard you. But that mentor-mentee relationship is two-sided. You can't just honor it and him just saying, yeah. And he can't just honor it and you take advantage. And this is the magic that happens when you build this wonderful mentor-mentee working relationship. And it's built on trust and respect. And I really hope my leaders are listening, but I also hope that employees like you, Dawn, who might be at a crossroad in their life, their career, why are you afraid to go to someone and say, here's the situation and the reality for me, and this is what I need? And I think when we speak our truth, that's when the opportunity really finds us, because we're clear in what we're articulating. And you did that really, really well. Don't underestimate the power of your own internal power, but that clarity that you didn't just go, oh, I'm sick and I can't. You didn't go in ranting and raving like a crazy person. You went in with feeling, but you went in with respect, conversation, logic. What do you think, right? That you discussed those opportunities. We create the opportunities. Here's just a great example of that, okay? Do you have a specific why when you're working with your clients or prospects? And I'm just curious.
Yeah. Of course you can relate with trust clients. They're all different and interesting, I guess you could say. Anyone can inherit money, or maybe they are elders and, they have family that can help them, but at times the whole family needs our help. And Absolutely. So to me, I love to kind of give an example of one of my favorite clients. And they're older and they're in their 90s. Their daughters live further away. They were all kind of, at turmoil about money. And, the family wanted to live at home, or the parents did. And through this process, it took a couple of years, but building trust. And I really enjoyed them. And I figured out, how can we help this family? And, we're stepped in as trustee and financial power of attorney for them. So we're paying all of their bills. We're, making sure that lawn care guy's coming, or the home caregivers are coming. And deep down, the daughters are now starting to get along. And so it's kind of we're that glue for that family. And, unfortunately, the one client passed away and I was their first call. And I think that was just kind of a show of why I do what I do. I'm really passionate about people and caring, and life's too short, and to have families argue over money is so sad. And 100%. I just want to help others out there that don't think about these things, or don't want to think about death, but it's part of life, and to come up with a better plan. And deep down you want what's best for your family, and you don't want them fighting. So I'm really passionate about it, and that's kind of my why of why I just keep wanting to learn, grow, meet new people, figure out how I can help. Maybe it's not our services, but maybe it's a different service or a different person that I know. Can I connect you to that person? Can I, even if you're trying to find a new friend, let me help connect you and find that person that you're looking for. That's kind of my why.
And being a connector is huge, okay? And I giggle because people laugh at me. Just over the weekend, I did a workshop, and during the workshop, I was talking about my book, or people were talking about their book, and as we were in these breakout rooms, I mentioned about my book. They're like, oh, could you introduce me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Now, I get nothing for these introductions. There's never any monetary reward, right? So this weekend alone, I sent her 3 people. Last week, I sent her 2 or 3 other people, in addition to other people that I've connected. So weekly, I'm sending introductory emails 12, 15 times where I'm like, oh, you need to meet. Oh, you need to meet. Come on, you guys, connect. I think you create some magic, or you're doing the same thing, or you could support each other. You get nothing monetary, and yet you're building your network of trust at this exponential, crazy, ridiculous level just by doing the right thing. And it's funny, I do want to comment about the trust component. And I think you and I, we were talking when I do my training, specifically in my banks, and let's say I'm working with the retail division. Most of my clients have a wealth management division, meaning the higher end clients that have estate issues. But I ask a simple question to the people in my class. Do you have a will? Is it updated? And do you have children that you have chosen guardianship for? Now, these are bankers that have a resource and are knowledgeable. If I have 20 people or 15 people in the class, 1 or 2 will have an updated will or have chosen a guardianship for their kids. And I shared with you in our first conversation, my head explodes. Now, it has nothing to do with what I'm teaching, but as a human, understanding and having this knowledge, how do you not pause and educate and teach people the dangers of not having an updated will and choosing guardianship for your kids? Simple topic. Again, I get nothing for it. It's not part of my curriculum, but I'm so passionate about protecting people. People don't know what they don't know. So if I have that knowledge, I am compelled to teach it because we all have blind spots, and I don't ever want anybody to make a mistake because they didn't know what they didn't know and they had that blind spot. And that's kind of what you're talking about with these clients. And the other thing I just want to say, kudos to you for understanding and going in and respectfully, thoughtfully talking to the whole family, even though there was a little bit of disharmony, and by your services and how you can serve them, and I mean them, the whole family, not just the mom and dad that were elderly. They saw the value. You took some burden off of them so that they could rejuvenate their conversation, not having conversations out of angst for care for the parents. But once you take that out of the perspective, now you're back to the core of the love and the worry is out of it. So what you do, and I respect what the wealth management divisions with all my clients as well, it's important work. It's really important work. So I did want to comment on that. And I love that story, that you really are the glue. And then the last piece is that you were the first one they called. Like, I almost teared up with that. That's, wow. How powerful is that you were their first call to say, this is what happens. Like, what do we need to do next? Because they see you as the expert. And you earn that, but you deserve that level of respect back at you. So kudos. That was just such a great story, Dawn. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I want to shift over to to Dan for a minute. Now, he's been your boss mentor. What things, or what kind of leader is he that he pushed you, he saw you, or were you always kind of going to him, hey, Dan, what do you think? Or was it reciprocal where he was like, Dawn, I'm thinking maybe. Was it this very dynamic kind of partnership?
I would say, at first I was maybe always asking a lot of questions because I was new to the department. I didn't know a lot. And so I was always learning. And, through the years, we built trust, even just us two building trust, and where I bounce ideas to him, he'd bounce ideas to me, I would even come to business planning and strategic planning where they never really had an admin person, but I was part of marketing. And, he always saw my insights or my ideas. Sometimes they weren't always the best ideas, but we'd always kind of bounce them around. And, that too, I learned that sometimes I just have to go with my gut, and I don't always need to ask him with everything if it's going to be good for the department. If it was just a minor detail about an event, like he's like, just make the decision. I know your decision will be right. And, he's just been a great mentor and boss and like a second dad almost too, where he's just caring and always caring about our family. And, sometimes, he would see me going to these events or saying yes to things, and sometimes he'd have to stop me and be like, Dawn, you don't have to say yes, it really is what, I should be doing what's best, for our department, but really his is the approval of things. He's my boss, where if he's the one telling me like, slow down, it's okay. So, he helped me learn too to slow down and to have a little bit more work-life balance and to be home with my family because he cares about his family too. So we do that to each other at times too. Like I'm trying to help him, remind him of his family and to take things slow. But, within the 6 years I think we've worked together now, it's just progressed over the years. And, too, even though we're now remote, I don't see him all the time, but we just call or text each other or email each other often. And it's just a different kind of relationship that we've developed over the years. So
yeah, and here's the important thing, that you're both finding value. Because see, not for nothing, Dawn, I really embrace the young people in my life, because you guys see things from that technological perspective where it doesn't even enter my radar, because it's not intuitive for my generation, where it's much more intuitive for your generation and even the generation below you. So that, see, he's wise to say, well, okay, why are you saying that? Why do you think that? And then trusting, because sometimes, my marketing people, like, they say, and I go, all right, if you think I trust them enough to know I don't always understand I understand. I shouldn't say that. I understand. I don't want to hear the details of it, because I'm never going to learn it. I don't want to learn it, and my time is better spent doing something else. So that he kind of gives up and says, you know what decisions to do, you know what needs to be done, go and do it, and not micromanage you. It frees him up to do the things that his genius, where he has the genius, and letting you go and do where you have the genius. So I love when, and I call it reverse mentoring, and I'll see if he understands that next week when my show I do with Dan. But when young people come to me, Con, here's a podcast you need to watch or listen to, or here's a book that I think you need to read, or you know what, I just found this app, it's perfect for saving time, and it will work with your Calendly link, whatever. And I go, okay. I never say I'm not interested. I always say, okay, can you send it to me, because I'll download the wrong thing, and then can you teach me how to use it if I have any questions? And inevitably, of course, oh my gosh, yes, I'd love to talk to you. And so it's being open that I don't know everything. And I think that the best leaders out there can inspire others to do and grow and be better every day, without micromanaging, and knowing everything you're doing, and empowering you to make decisions, because that's the only way you're going to become a super leader, is by you making decisions, I call it falling forward, making those mistakes, but everything could be fixed, so it's that falling forward and learning. And it sounds like Dan has empowered you to do that. Mentor, mentee, as well as the boss and subordinate, the relationships take effort, and I think we're not willing to put the effort out. And here's just such a great example. I think I said to you, I'm going to put Dan as my poster child, not child, for what leadership and mentorship should look like, He really is the poster child. And I think you're the poster child, so to speak, for what does the mentee look like, and how do you show up so that you do earn the respect and partnership of a mentor. It's an effort. Everything is an effort when you're building relationships, but is it worth putting the time in? And everybody listening, you can only decide that, Dawn and I have made our decision. You have to make that decision as well. So hopefully Dawn's stories have helped you stop maybe and think, maybe it's time I had a conversation with, and whoever that is in your organization, to help you kind of zero in on what you're looking to do with your career, your health, whatever the catalyst is for you. So Dawn, our time is up, but thank you so much for just being so candid and sharing everything with us. Always appreciate it. So guys, if you have specific questions for Dawn, and you want to say, well, how did you do that? And how did you approach Dan with, I can share your email, correct? Yep. So you can reach out to Dawn directly at Mullarney @ and it's S like Sam, B like boy, C like Connie, P like Peter .bank. And just one more time, what is the name of the bank, if you could say it?
State Bank of Cross Plains.
State Bank of Cross Plains, and that's out in Wisconsin. So a shout out to you folks out in Wisconsin, from the Jersey girl here on the East Coast. And guys, if you're interested and you are in the Wisconsin area, or you're interested in the wealth management specifically, ton of information, go to their website, which is, of course, www.sbcp.bank. I will post in the show notes so that you could find Dawn and you could check out the bank as well. And I'll backlink everything, guys, so it's easy for you to find. If you need a little more Connie in your life, which of course I hope you always need a little more me in your life, go to my website at whitmanassoc.com. So it's WHITMANASSOC.com. Everything is there. So you have free resources. My book is there. The podcast is there if that's how you want to find me. LinkedIn, Facebook, my classes, everything you could want and need to know about Connie Whitman, go to whitmanassoc.com and you will find it. Dawn, any last words of wisdom before we sign off for today?
Well, I would say a new venture for me. It just launched last week, but we're also doing a podcast, and it's called Wealth Ways. And it's, a conversation kind of focusing more towards female, but, female empowerment, the growth, and pretty much, moving upward. And it's talking about wealth and everything in between. So if you're wanting to learn more or hear me more often, Wealth Ways is to check out.
And one more time, what's the name of the podcast?
Wealth Ways.
I just love that. If you send me the link before we go, guys, I'll put the Wealth Ways on the show notes as well, so you guys could check it out if you're interested, or if you have a family member perhaps that is in that wealth area where there might be some estate tax issues. Highly recommend you. Number one, you reach out to Dawn, but check out the show. It might give you the information that you're seeking. We really do need to protect our parents, or my case parents, your case Dawn, grandparents. They've worked hard and saved their whole life. We really want that money, and whether it goes to family or a charity, but the money should be honored and do or go to what the elders would like that money to do and serve. So check it out, Wealth Ways, and again, I will post that on the show notes. Dawn, I love you. I love having you on the show. Thank you so much, and I've got your back. Whatever you need help with, always reach out to me. I will. You have a friend. You have a friend in Jersey.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me today and getting my story out. And
yeah, it's an important story. I think it's an important story, but I think it's an important partnership for your generation to think about and explore, to keep progressing your career and grow and pushing the envelope of your comfort zone and all those things. So thank you again for that. And you guys, I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together that no matter what challenge or growth issue you're having in your life, that you realize that the change and the little tips and tools and strategies that we share on the show hopefully help you move your needle to progress, whether it's building relationships, increasing your business, again, increasing sales. We've got you, and hopefully this information is extremely helpful and useful as soon as today. Thank you again, Dawn. Thank you all for listening. You've been listening to the Heartfelt Sales Leader podcast with me, your host, of course, the Heartfelt Sales Leader, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. Thank you all, and I wish you all a wonderful week where you open your mind to the possibilities that lie within being an avid connector, like we talked about today with people, helping your clients through whatever that sales conversation. Sales is a good word, right? I'm on a movement to change this whole sales perspective and keep growing that network, helping and supporting more people with ease. And again, always coming from those loving relationships. It works, and it will serve you, and it will serve those you love and help. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. See you next week.